Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them out into his vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, "You too must go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off. And he went out again around noon, and around 3 o'clock, and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, he found others standing around, and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." When it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, each received the usual daily wage. So when the first came, they thought that they would receive more, but each of them also got the usual daily wage. And on receiving it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I am not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give this last one the same as you? Or am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous?" Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
The gospel is a good caution for us in our spiritual life, and maybe a little bit of a litmus test, you could say, too. As we sometimes might feel like these workers in the vineyard, right? And maybe we have been faithful to the Lord for a long time, and sometimes maybe that eats at us when we see other people who aren't faithful to Him, of our own peers, and maybe they become disciples at some point later in their life. And we worry that, don't we deserve more for having been a part of the gospel longer, having been disciples longer? If that thought comes into our minds and hearts, it's a good time for us to ask the question, why are we upset about that? And maybe the question is really, what is the wage that we get when we follow the Lord? It's not something that causes us discouragement in our day-to-day life. It's not like the wage is the extra sufferings we have to endure or something. But the wage we get instead is the Lord Jesus Himself. So maybe if you phrase this parable in a different way, look at it in a slightly different light. If the task was simply being the friend of the landowner, and the people at the beginning of the day took that on right from the beginning of the day, and the people at the end of the day took that on right at the end of the day. If the task was simply being the friend of the landowner, why would the people at the end of the day feel bad that now the landowner has more friends, right? It's a way for us, I think, to understand this parable too, because that's what the life of the Spirit is all about. It's our relationship with the Lord. Our wage is Jesus Himself, and that should be enough for us. And we should rejoice when our friend receives more friends, when we are able to share together in joy in the one that we love.